everybody, welcome back. As it always is, it is a challenge to keep our energy up throughout the entire film festival, and we have reached Saturday morning. Of course, tonight is a big night when the awards are presented. We're always very excited to be a part of that event. But on Saturday morning, we're still trying to get our energy and our courage together for one more day, and I'm pleased to have a conversation at this moment in the festival when we're already starting to take a look back with Mr. John Cooper from the Sundance Institute. Good morning, sir.
Hey,
how are
thank you?
Nice to see you. Thank you
Nice
for
to you.
coming. We're all tired. We appreciate you stopping
I'm not
by.
tired.
You know, no. If Coop isn't tired, if Coop isn't tired, then the rest
Nobody
of us
gets
can't
to
be
be
tired
tired.
either. So I guess my first question is, how are you feeling about the festivals? We were just chatting for a moment before we came on. It felt like a good old-fashioned film festival this year.
Yeah, got to it after a crazy start and after, an inauguration, a women's march here in Park City, some power outages, some cyber hacking.
Some hacking.
We're getting used to it. It all turned out to be about the films, which is, what we intend it to be, but maybe that good little lull threw us into films even more.
No question. And, I hadn't thought about the fact that the first weekend, which of course is sort of party-rific,
Right.
and a lot of people in town who don't really truly have anything to do with film or the festival, and maybe the march and maybe these thoughts that are on people's minds made it a little less of that kind of...
Made you focus, I think.
Yeah.
And then the focus turned to the films because that's what's left to do, I guess.
Absolutely, and it did feel like everyone was more focused there this year. Talk a little bit about films that maybe were a surprise to you in terms of their performance at the festival, or how things kind of catch a fire.
There weren't so many big surprises for me. I'm kidding. I've been here 28 years. I'm pretty good at this.
You can prognosticate those.
But then there were some smaller films that really shone. We had that whole next section, which is a lot of smaller films, and you're never sure how they're going to pop. So Ghost Story out of there popped. Gook, a crazy little film about Los Angeles. But then like Beatrix at Dinner was Miguel Arteta's film that had a whole new political slant from where we are. It looked a little different, and so people came to the films maybe a little different than they would have. But of course, we programmed the festival way before, so it's all, I like the documentaries did really well this year. Some really surprising, you're always worried about the smaller films, the gentler films, because it's a loud festival and people are making noise. And there's just little films like Unrest, which is about chronic fatigue syndrome, which doesn't seem like it'd make for a lively documentary. It was really quite beautiful.
And I have to include Nyasa Nichinane's film. So beautiful just to go to that place that's so far away from what is in front of our eyes living here and to see these young children. And like you said, I felt like the day that we had that conversation here in the studio, I was breathing easier, and like you say, a smaller film that had some stillness but some real beauty in the frame was just great to.
And that's what independent film is. We are the others in so many ways, and as Hollywood films tell us more the normal America. All these voices, all these places, all these people in front of the camera, behind the camera, that come here that are showing so much dimension to who we are as people. And that's really, I think, the kind of the added benefit of this festival, sort of the afterglow. That's what I'm trying to say. It's the afterglow.
Indeed, and we even noticed it last night with our final evening program, and everybody kind of lingers around and nobody quite wants to leave just yet. It's like hanging out in the locker room after the game. You don't want it to quite be over.
And then we had Quentin Tarantino here last night.
I was fortunate to be there.
It was lively,
Super
wasn't it?
fantastic.
That's where you panic, like no one's going to show up. Everyone's seen this film. He was great. The audience was amazing.
Yeah, I thought...
and we put in the big theater, which is,
And John did a great job leading the panel. It's kind of funny to think of those three guys and call them a panel with respect to that
too
film,
unruly for a panel.
That's right. That's right.
It's just a happening.
Well, and we certainly got, at the risk of using a cliche phrase, we got some vintage Tarantino last night. His really great answers. He was very engaged.
Did you talk about not getting an award when he came the first time? Did you talk about it? Probably a little bit. he always loves it because he didn't win any award. Reservoir Dogs came here left with nothing, well, except a deal, but and his career. But still, that whole notion of not winning an award. So I really like that story to get out because it makes the filmmakers tonight say it's not all that. You
Right,
know,
right,
you
right.
know, you know.
You hope for an award, and it's a wonderful thing
It's
to
just a
get
good thing
to
to
go up on
get.
the stage.
Don't worry if
but-
you get it. Don't worry if you don't. You know.
Well, and don't forget that through the process of
Yeah.
being at the festival, people are changed.
Right.
But remember what you felt like when you got the notice that you are one of
Yes.
less than 200 films out of the world of filmmakers trying to be a part of this
Thanks for
festival.
saying that for me.
If you need any immediate
Yeah,
stand-ins. John, talk a little bit, if you would, about, for me, my impression last year was we talked a lot about VR. It was kind of the first
yeah.
year for that conversation. This year, with, and I'll use Netflix as a specific example, their presence at the festival
Right.
in having a number of films
Right.
that were already, that they had developed from the
Right,
beginning.
right.
We're seeing some real changes. Is that sort of thing on your mind during the festival? Are you seeing that, or are you a little more zoomed in?
I'm a little zoomed out on, like, I'm always a day late to hear about what's buying. So
Sure,
but it's been a
sure.
really great. I like when films make their money back, and a lot of films sold, a lot of documentaries sold, and for real money, not where it's kind of like we wish we could have got more pay all our investors back. So
Sure.
It's been a good year for sales. I like these new players in the game, Netflix, Amazon. It brings the stakes up, and you think a small film getting out in a theater, but a small film going out on Netflix is pretty huge. Maybe not the drama that the filmmaker dreams of going to many theaters
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
seeing it all the time or
Sure.
for very long. But I was on last year. There's a film here, Intervention.
Mm-hmm.
I remember walking down a plane. It was about a couple of months after Sundance. I was on a plane flying to Europe, and everybody was watching Intervention. You could just see it through the whole plane, and you just think of that all day long. People are catching up to your film. It makes careers.
No question. And in this day and age, when we have these newer players, it feels, and I share your excitement, it feels to me like the partnership of those kinds of content distributors and what the essence of the Sundance Film Festival
Right.
are really in almost a natural lockstep in terms of this is the best way to get films that are smaller,
Right.
that are more directed to everybody on the globe that can resonate with
Right.
that particular film.
And
That's
I talked to the filmmakers a little quietly, and they don't get any kind of pressure. There's no pressure to be commercial. The great thing about these companies, they're letting the artists do what they do and know that there's an audience out there they trust. And I think our audiences are always much smarter than we think they are.
And I think of my conversation with Sidney Freeland the other night, and again, like you were saying, it has always occurred to me as someone who's not in that side of this particular world that all of the risk and the angst and the fraught moments that are kind of traditionally what goes along with saying I'm an independent filmmaker is you must have the requisite ulcer because of always having to deal with how are we going to get the film, are we going to be able to finance the film to the level that we want it, the vision that we have and all those kind of things, and I heard that as well from filmmakers saying we did our deal, I got the money I needed to make the film, and they left me alone. It's really a beautiful thing.
And they
to
allow
be hearing.
cast not to be as big and as name as it used to be, so they can introduce new talent to us, which is I don't know why everybody's afraid of new talent, because that's how we survive.
Absolutely.
But nobody wants to be the one who's doing it.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
it.
Nobody wants to
Yeah.
raise their hand. That being said, and we go. It's funny how I have these memories of sitting on this couch 11 days ago, and Aman Abbas with Davion, and these non-performers who give amazing performances and really so much fun to watch, and especially with an amazingly talented young filmmaker like that. I'm sure that there's a lot of memories for you coming to the festival.
There's too many. I mean, even like looking back to pushing Damien Giselle on the stage for opening night with Whiplash, not a clue with what was going to happen to him.
Right, and look what's happened.
And and he, it's not just that. Not that he just got a chance, but he had the talent behind it, of course.
And he was absolutely ready. And then when it happened,
and now who knows what's going to happen to him?
Well, I mean, with lightning in a bottle twice, we go, well, not really so much lightning in a bottle, just a really talented guy who's going to keep knocking
just lightning.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, any sort of parting thoughts coming out of the festival this year? I'm sure that you take your time to get back around to that and get rested up again.
You'd think. we wrap like next week. We start going through everything that we did wrong, obsessively. I think, for me, I was so proud of, with all the snow and with all power outages and stuff like that, how great my staff was at just dealing.
Sure.
You put all these processes in, and sometimes I'm so sick of talking about it, like, oh, that's not going to happen, but they're right and I'm wrong. I'm so glad that we just had people spring into gear. So I'm proud of that. I think too, that whole sense of community that happened here. I think the notion that all these filmmakers still found each other, and even more so. I mean, I'm going to cook pancakes now for all the filmmakers. It's something we do every year. So we build these things in to just keep gathering the filmmakers together, and they seem to have really nice friendships being made here. This is, part of it.
And I think by nature, of course, the filmmaker's journey is a very lonely one, and I kind of conceptualize it always as the darkened edit bay, and what a lonely place that is when you have this film. But like you say, filmmakers need community too.
Now out of these films, I see a lot of them. I go, a year from now, you will still be on the road with this. You will have gone to, Asia. You will have gone to Europe. You will, because that's how these films go out in the world, and it's over a year that they travel with these films.
And we had a couple of instances of some of the groups of shorts filmmakers, and perhaps the best, most dramatic example of that, because they do kind of move around town and create this kind of on-the-spot, intense group of people really loyal to one another. Yeah. Well, I suppose we should let you go put your apron on and get some pancakes happening. It's great to see you. Congratulations on really a wonderful film festival this year.
Thanks for the job you do here, giving some light to like a lot of voices.
Thank you. Well, we're fortunate to have the format, to have the time to talk in some depth. And
you're in the right place at the right time.
And it's just
Park City.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity. We will see you soon.
Okay.
All right. John Cooper, it's been another fantastic festival. All the best to the entire Institute team. That is a group of people that works very, very hard. While it looks like Sundance is a big party, there are those who are ensuring that an amazing film festival takes place every year. We'll be right back.